Every day I'm proud of our great city and the people and businesses who call Fremont home. Whether it's Fremont's own Lamb Research expanding their current footprint by building an $87 million, 134,000 square foot facility on their campus, or Stella Hahn and Hannah Cho, two Mission San Jose High School students who are headed to play in Carnegie Hall this December. There's no shortage of people and businesses who make up Fremont's diverse fabric and who are out there doing innovative, creative, and amazing things. Today I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of these great stories in our community, about the people who are making a difference, about new places and things to do in Fremont, and companies and events that make our city such a great place to live, work, shop, and play. In Fremont, that all starts with a great team. Our city team believes in tenacity, innovation, and embracing our diversity. We're not afraid to take the lead and believe that work and strategic partnerships are key investments in advancing our city. This holds true for our city council and city staff. I want to acknowledge the members of the city council who come from a diverse background and work hard to guide the city. We each bring a different skill set to the table, and each one of us is dedicated to making Fremont shine. I would like to introduce Vice Mayor Vinnie Bacon, Councilmember Anu Natarajan, Councilmember Sue Chan, Councilmember Raj Salwan. I want to thank each of them for their dedication and commitment to Fremont. I also want to thank City Manager Fred Diaz and the management staff and all the city employees who are contributing to make Fremont a bright city. We're all working together to ensure the stars are aligning in Fremont. According to a recently conducted community survey completed last October, Fremont residents are very satisfied with the quality of life here and the services provided and the way in which our financial affairs are managed. According to the data, 4 out of 5 Fremont residents rate the quality of life in the city as good or excellent. In addition, we also learned that the most important services to community members continue to be public safety, garbage and recycling, street maintenance, and economic development. Also, most residents feel positive about the pace of growth and development in Fremont, though many would like to see expanded entertainment and nightlife, and we're working on that. Recently, Rock and Jumps opened in Fremont, providing wall-to-wall trampoline, foam pit basketball dunk zones, and a cafe. And we finally opened our long-awaited skate park last May to rave reviews. With an average of over 100 skaters per day, it's evident that this state-of-the-art facility is filling a need. And while our local community has given the city high marks, we're also shining on a national level. Fremont was recently ranked as the second best-run city in America by 24/7 Wall Street, climbing up from last year's 5th spot. In the last 5 months, Fremont has also been recognized as one of the happiest cities in America by Career Bliss, as evident here today, too. Also a best place to live in 2014 by livability.com, and the nation's #1 city for home sellers by Movado Real Estate Blog, and a top city for California job seekers by Nerd Wallet. But that's not all. Fremont also took first prize in the 2014 City Cultural Diversity Awards from the National Leagues of City for our Community Ambassador Program for seniors. CAPS trains volunteers to serve seniors in their own communities, in their own language, and within their own cultural norms where seniors live, worship, and socialize. I'm proud that our city works at the speed of business. Fremont continues to lead in advanced manufacturing, even receiving national recognition for being part of Silicon Valley's Where Things Get Made. Companies like Excelitas, West Coast Quartz, Orgia Protonics, and others have shared their stories about reshoring manufacturing operations from overseas right back here in Fremont. Locally, we're working to make sure our city processes are evolving to address the rapidly changing world where new products are introduced before the last one even rolls off the assembly line. Just over a year ago, Fremont, in collaboration with our other Silicon Valley cities, founded the Silicon Valley Manufacturing Roundtable. This is a forum that brings together the manufacturing sector with government, education, and workforce and agencies to address industry challenges and advocates for advanced manufacturing. If you haven't heard of National Manufacturing Day, don't worry, you soon will. Although Hallmark doesn't have a card for this October event yet, Fremont manufacturers such as Western Digital, CalWeld, and Biolytic have opened their doors to the next generation of workforce to change perceptions and build excitement in careers in manufacturing. Over the last year, Fremont has also made important strides in solidifying our city as the status of the hub for clean technology. We engaged an industry expert to help us understand the underlying market dynamics that have created Fremont's impressive clean tech clusters. It turns out there's no accident that Fremont has so many solar and LED companies, given our history in the semiconductor industry and sensor technology expertise. And we put the city on the clean tech map by hosting the Clean Tech Open Western Regional 2013 Western Regional Awards. The Clean Tech Open is the country's largest accelerator for clean tech startups. We were thrilled to have 200 people join us here at the Marriott for thought-provoking panels and keynotes, a technology expo where many of our own clean tech companies participated, and an award ceremony for some of tomorrow's most promising technologists in energy, green building, and advanced materials. We threw in some extra pizzazz by hosting a venture capital reception at Tesla, providing matchmaking opportunities between investors and entrepreneurs. And I'm very pleased to announce that after spending some time with the Fremont team, Western Regional winner and one of Forbes 30 Under 30 has moved their business to Fremont. I'd like to welcome Dragonfly Systems to Fremont. We look forward to supporting their continued growth, and I'm happy to announce I just heard fairly recently that we're going to be back here in October in 2014 to host it here at the Marriott, another opportunity for us to showcase Fremont to the world. Speaking of Tesla, last year they were named Motor Trend's Car of the Year, and now they have recorded the shortest charge time for an electric vehicle traveling across the country, a feat that's now being assessed for recognition as a Guinness World Records achievement. The company continues to grow, producing over 500 vehicles a week, while employing over 3,500 people here in Fremont, with more to come as they ramp up production of the Model X. The factory itself has become a full-service operation with several Tesla superchargers, a service facility, and most important to me, a flagship retail store where you can purchase your locally produced Model S and soon your Model X. Such purchase will give a bump to our bottom line. So what are you waiting for? And Fremont's Auto Mall is truly firing on all cylinders. While it contributed significantly to our budget when the other sectors suffered during the downturn, it remains one of our strongest sales tax generators. In fact, the Fremont Auto Mall is one of the top performing auto malls in the region. In Fremont, we're proud to say that we have a retention-oriented economic development strategy for quite some time, with some exciting expansion stories to show for it. As I reported last year, 4 companies are well on their way. I'd like to thank Thermo Fisher Scientific, Seagate Technologies, Delta Products, there we go, Men's Warehouse, for your decision to stay, grow, and invest right here in Fremont. Continuing on our success with local companies expanding, I've already told you about Lamb's expansion. Another great success story is furniture distributor Home Elegance, who is completing a major expansion with the construction of a 95,000 square foot building in Bayside. They also just purchased a 300,000 square foot industrial building on Cato Road, making it the largest industrial real estate deal in the East Bay in 2013. And just down the freeway, Overton Moore's The Crossings at 880 project has 3 new industrial buildings under construction at Dixon Landing Road. This is Fremont's first industrial spec building in over 10 years, a sign of a hot market. And up the road in Ardenwood, EFI has recently relocated their new corporate campus, complete with hip Silicon Valley amenities, to serve their more than 400 employees. Of note, they're occupying a building that's been vacant for over 10 years. And what a year it's been at Pacific Commons. We saw phase 1 of the block open, which offers long-awaited lifestyle components to the shopping center, including pedestrian amenities, quality architecture, and most importantly, great retailers and restaurants. And last year, the center's original owner and developer, Catellus, sold the Pacific Commons portion of the center to the Chicago-based investment company Heitman. This turned out to be the largest retail property sale in the Bay Area in 2013. We look forward to working with both companies, as well as the new management partner, Vestar Properties, to further position this regional retail powerhouse. We're also looking forward to Dick's Sporting Goods coming, filling a long-needed void in our retail mix. Another exciting retail project to take shape is our city's downtown district. Last September, Whole Foods Market celebrated their grand opening at the gateway to our downtown. People have always told me that one of the reasons Fremont wasn't a successful retail town was because of our diverse population. Boy, have we proven them wrong. Our diversity can add to our retail mix and should be celebrated. Let's look at what Whole Foods is doing. They have halal meat, dosas, rice bar, and a made-to-order stir-fry wok. They are indeed celebrating and matching Fremont's diversity and succeeding in the marketplace by using it to their advantage. I think they should be applauded. Another example, if all I have to say is should be applauded and you applaud, that's pretty good. We're going to have to work that in next year. Another example is the Joshua Project, started by a 7-year-old Joshua Goldenberg who is blind. With Fremont being home to the California School for the Blind, Whole Foods celebrated our diversity by bringing Braille labels and audible scanners to their Fremont store, as well as across the country. And Whole Foods is also working with local companies like Spicely Organics. Spicely is a local supplier now getting national exposure based on their relationship with Whole Foods. And because the spice and tea company's growth, they're looking to expand in Fremont. So as we look to build our downtown, we will continue to celebrate all things Fremont. And we certainly celebrated earlier this year when we were awarded $5.8 million grant to establish Capitol Avenue as the future downtown Main Street. These grant funds will also be used to improve pedestrian and bicycle connections between the downtown and the Fremont BART station and improve signage, landscaping, and widened pathways. We look forward to continuing our Downtown Street Eats food truck event, which kicks off on April 25th. We thank the Chamber staff for managing this hip, new urban event for Fremont. We also have our Civic Center master planning underway to help us build a place in the downtown that will serve as a social and political heart of our community. And at the Paragon Apartments between Walnut Avenue and California Avenue, the occupancy rate is nearly 80%. This is impressive since they officially opened their doors last July. 85% of their rental population represents Gen X and Gen Yers, as well as empty nesters. This exemplifies the fact that the downtown location, in close proximity to a variety of transit options, recreational spaces, retail and employment opportunities, is the wave of the future. With all this development activity in the city, I'm pleased to report that we recently have substantially streamlined our planning and permitting process. And we're instituting new over-the-counter solar permitting for routine residential installation. Mike Powers from Diablo Solar was our first customer. And to help businesses through the city permitting process, we created a business ally position this year. You may have already met Jackie Hall at a recent chamber meeting or small business association gathering. She's doing a great job in this new role. Also, our economic staff continues to provide a great bridge between the business community and the city. Moving on now, we're making progress on extending BART to Warm Springs, South Fremont, and then ultimately further south into San Jose. Even though the construction dust hasn't settled yet, we look forward to BART service to Warm Springs beginning by December 2015. And while the drought we're in is a serious matter, the exceptionally dry conditions have aided the Valley Transportation Authority to get ahead of schedule on their 10-mile Berryessa extension to San Jose. We look forward to BART passenger service to San Jose in 2017, although that's really a year ahead of schedule. So stay tuned to next year's State of the City address for a more accurate construction update. I'm shilling for VTA and BART at this point. I think it's important to note that in the Warm Springs and surrounding areas, BART and VTA's regional transportation infrastructure projects, as well as the SFPUC's seismic upgrades, total nearly $8 billion of investment in our region. That's why it's critically important for Fremont to capitalize on the timing of this large investment with our Warm Springs community plan. And that's just what we're doing. The draft plan and EIR are under review, and the Warm Springs South Fremont area and we have made progress in transforming this area to a transit-oriented, jobs-focused development. I'd like to thank the Fremont Unified School District for their partnership in developing a new school as part of this development. As mayor, I look forward to partnering with the school district to pass their facilities bond this June and help all 42 schools in the district. We also have had a great cooperation with Union Pacific. I'd like to thank Rick Gooch from Union Pacific, who's here with us today, for all his hard work. Union Pacific sold the south parcel to Thermo Fisher and Tesla Motors last year. The north parcel, which is 109 acres, will soon be in contract with a national developer. This parcel, along with a few key adjacent parcels, make up the area around the Warm Springs South Fremont BART station. This development will be a Silicon Valley job center, uniquely positioning our city as a place where our students after college can return to Fremont and live and work in the city in which they grew up in, working for the next generation of Silicon Valley companies right here in Fremont. This has been a complex project, but definitely a labor of love, because the vision we're holding out for approaches something very special for our region. This has also been a strong partnership. I want to thank Union Pacific for pausing, looking at our vision, and seeing the possibilities other than a rail yard. I also want to thank the Fremont Unified School District, BART, and the development community for working side by side as we work on this 21st century jobs-focused development. To have progressed as far as we have in such a short amount of time is truly amazing. And to complement all this activity, Fremont has branded its innovation district, which is comprised of Warm Springs and Bayside, where most of Fremont's innovation companies reside. Look for new signage, planned events, and ultimately a welcome center to be introduced. Oh, and speaking of investments, despite the fact that the redevelopment is no longer a tool we can use to improve areas in our city, significant progress has been made this last year. The successor agency hopes to conclude wind-down efforts shortly so that it may ultimately terminate its existence, which in this case is a good thing. Because when that happens, we've already approved this, Artist Walk, a high-quality mixed-use project that will be located in Centerville. And we're looking at creative ways to invest in affordable housing since our largest funding source, redevelopment, has been eliminated. Noteworthy to mention is Fremont was one of the first cities of the state to support affordable housing by dedicating our so-called boomerang funds, which were modest amounts of new general fund monies the city would receive in lieu of former redevelopment monies. These monies will go towards affordable housing so we can continue to construct new units in our city. In addition to affordable housing, we also take environmental sustainability very seriously. From the Climate Action Plan adopted by the Council in 2012 to the newly created Environmental Sustainability Commission that met for the first time last July, we're keeping this forward momentum going. We have hired Rachel DeFranco, a Fremont native, as our new sustainability coordinator, and have continued our program of replacing existing streetlights with energy-efficient LED technology. Plans are also in the works to install solar panels at several city facilities. And it's safe to say a lot of our Fremont success is due to the fact that we hire great people. In January, we filled 2 key management positions to oversee the city's finance and public works department. Meet David Purslin, our new finance director, and Brian Jones, our new public works director. In just 3 months, they have already contributed greatly to our city organization. And we're also getting techie. We adopted the city's first ever information technology strategic plan to serve as our roadmap. By embracing new technology and being proactive, this plan includes innovations and will improve accessibility to open up the communications between the city and our residents. We're also working on bringing mobile applications to the community to share information and to identify and report issues. Some of these apps include finding out about local road conditions and traffic patterns, reporting problems such as graffiti, potholes, and streetlights, and locating city facilities such as parks and community centers. Access to these mobile apps will be available via the city's website in the future. And switching gears now to public safety, I was proud to be there the day we dedicated the police building on Stevenson to my mentor and Fremont's former mayor and police chief, Bob Wasserman. Linda is with us today. Let's give her a round of applause. One of the things that Bob taught me was you never want to talk about how safe your city is because you're always just one crime away from being in the news. And we all know that one crime is one too many. But I also think it's important to honor and celebrate the brave men and women of the Fremont Police Department. There are several here with us today. Please help me welcome them. Pedestrian safety has been one of the police department's highest priorities. In fact, Police Chief Richard Lucero, who is serving as this year's president of the California Peace Officers Association, has identified the reduction of injury accidents as one of our 3 core goals for the police departments to meet. They continue to analyze data to better understand the dynamics and circumstances causing collisions in our city, with part of the focus being on roadways near schools during the hours of pickup and drop-off. They are focusing department resources on improving these conditions. And speaking of pedestrian safety, here's one thing we're doing as a city. At Washington Hospital, there was an increase in pedestrian vehicle collisions on Civic Center Drive, and we wanted to turn that around. We worked with the hospital to evaluate this trend and found that distracted drivers, pedestrians, the speed of motorists, as well as shadows were the cause of most of these collisions. Since the goal was to improve safety along Civic Center Drive, I'm pleased that we accomplished this collaboratively. These improvements should enhance the safety and awareness of this very important crosswalk to the downtown, the hospital, and BART. And I need to say that there's not a city department that didn't touch this project. Everyone worked as a team, including the city attorney's office. But I really need to give a special thanks to the street crew maintenance who owned this project and brought it home in a timely manner, and we appreciate working with the hospital. So thank you very much. And while the police department has identified several strategies that are making a difference with pedestrian safety, they're also increased their two-way communication with the community, encouraged and partnered with residents in the use of home and commercial video surveillance, and have focused on enforcement using information provided by our residents. We believe these efforts are what contributed to the decrease in Fremont's residential burglary rate by 27% from 2012 to 2013. While this is wonderful news, I believe we can do even more to keep our community safe through the use of video surveillance of public roadway. Look for the police department to launch their outreach efforts soon. And over in the fire department, we welcomed 11 new recruits in December. They passed a rigorous 17-week training academy and are now assigned to one of Fremont's 10 fire stations. This is a big deal because the city's last time we had a fire department academy was in 2007. Another big deal is that we are the first fire department in the state of California to install the UCAPIT system for storing and dispensing controlled substances. And the department promoted two battalion chiefs, Steve Silva and Don Linneman. I think Steve is with us here today. Congratulations, Steve. As well as Deputy Fire Chief Jim Martin, who couldn't be with us here today, but there are some other members of the Fremont Fire Department. Let's welcome them, please. These promotions make up a third of our command staff. And we have some big new equipment that helps us fight wildland fires, having delivered and placed a 2,500-gallon water tender and a new off-road attack engine. Something I continue to be proud of is Fremont's true partnership in public safety between the police and fire departments. Case in point, who needs the Batmobile when you have a mobile command public safety unit to save the day? It can also be used as an on-site coordination center for major city events and a fully functional 911 dispatch center. Do you notice the color? No blue or red to be found. And luckily, the city's budget isn't in the red either. We are continuing our modest recovery, but remain prudent and cautious. The unemployment rate has dropped significantly in Fremont at 4.8%, while a year ago it was 5.8%. And I'm proud that we're below the Alameda County average of 6.7%. And we've seen some continuing positive indications, such as the increase in the average price of homes, which are getting closer to the pre-recession levels. And sales tax continues to be our second largest revenue stream, and I'm happy to report it is continuing to grow. The blue line at the top is our business-to-business sector. The red line is our auto sales, which has been increasing significantly, thanks in large part to the success and continued growth of our auto mall. The green line depicts sales tax from general consumer goods, which have increased with the expansion of Pacific Commons and the block. And this year, we plan to spend about $9.1 million on unmet needs. The council has reaffirmed this as a priority as we plan for the future years. This is great news because our public safety departments, streets, affordable housing stock all need a boost. In being a CPA, I always like to find where our departments think outside the cash box to enhance revenues. Here's an example. In January, the Central Park food vendor contract expired. We saw this as a great opportunity to move this service in-house. Now the Aqua Adventure Catering and Event Service team has added the operation of the Central Park snack bar to their scope of service. This change will bring in more than $200,000 in new revenue to the Recreation Division. So next time you're in Central Park, be sure you come hungry. And we're also getting creative with our street maintenance dollars. I'm pleased to report that we've increased spending for street maintenance in our capital improvement program from $4.9 million last year to $12 million this fiscal year. To make these dollars stretch, staff is using rubberized treatment, which delay more costly street overlay repairs for those streets currently in good or fair condition. This is a very cost-effective treatment and allows us to maintain more street sections. And after a decade of closure, the city is now contributing nearly $250,000 to restore Sunday library hours to ensure Fremont residents have access to the books and resources they need. You're welcome. This was long overdue, and I'm happy we could finally make it happen. Overall, Fremont's recovery is modest, and our outlook is still cautious. We're doing the prudent thing and have a plan in place to step in to funding some of our unmet needs. Where possible, we will continue employing creative solutions to stretching our dollars in the community. Today I've talked a lot about what's happening in Fremont and what's on the horizon. While we've expanded our communications and engagement efforts with our citizens the past couple of years, we're now focusing on the development and corporate community. To help us tell our Fremont story, we're making sure Fremont's not the Bay Area's best kept secret any longer. And we launched a new website last summer called ThinkSiliconValley.com. We will continue to leverage this digital property, expanding our reach to different kinds of groups of corporate decision makers, from venture capitalists to entrepreneurs to real estate professionals. And we're also blogging these days about Fremont's changing business environment. I encourage you to subscribe to be part of the conversation. And along with our snazzy new business website, we are debuting a brand new Think Fremont video here today. It's a great video that we're using to market Fremont and tell our story. But don't take my word for it. Have a look for yourself.